Okay, so in this video I will talk about kind of all perspective type you need to know. Like, it's interesting, it's actually like only 6 type you need to consider. Let's check sound. Okay, sound is okay. So there is 2 main category. It's linear and curvilinear perspective. So in a linear perspective, let's say linear perspective. So in linear perspective we have like 0 point, let's here be 1 point, 2 point, and 3 point perspective. So this point, it's mean like vanishing points, and vanishing points, they are like vanishing points is about axis, like perspective axis, vanishing on the horizon line. So let's see. So what is axis? Axis, it's this 3 dimensions. Like we have vertical dimension, we have this z dimension for depth, and we have x for width. I have a lot of video about this, talking this basics. Is 3 axes. So this 3 axes, it's represent 3 dimensions in 3D. So let's say if we have box will have four set of each axis. So we have like 4 x edges. So these edges, they're align with the direction of x-axis. In this perspective, here is no conversion, here is no vanishing point. We just know direction. We know direction here is just horizontal. It's just parallel to horizontal paper surface kind of. So every edges align to x, which stands for width. They'll kind of align with this axis. Same with z. So here in this box we have 4z. So when we know direction of the axis, we can draw all of them just in the same direction. And y vertical, so we have 4 vertical axes. So this very simple, is like mind-blowingly simple. It's just you need to understand like 3D space. It's this 3 set of lines, 3 type of lines. So if you have any line which like represent edge or like border or whatever, if it's aligned with the space, if it's not just kind of like on its own, if it's aligned to space, like it's parallel to ground, it's parallel to wall, or it's like parallel to some other objects, so it's kind of engage in a relationship with the space and other 3D objects. So then they will follow like same axis. Like this main principle you need to keep in mind. So also like for each this axis they have also surface. So for y axis it will be perpendicular surface, you know, like a surface from which this y appears. So like you can consider it like okay, let's say p for this will be x. It's like a wheel and axle. So here is axle, like is x-axis, and the wheel is this plane. So here on the box we have this perpendicular to direction of x will be x plane, x surface, perpendicular to vertical it will be this y surface. So this kind of logic, perpendicular logic. Same for z. So you can see this box have two y surface, two x and two z surface. So, and this is what makes 0 point perspective. 0 point perspective, it's just about arrangement of this three axes, three set of lines. So let's say it's called also isometry. So it's just about establishing set of three axes. So let's say y will be like this, it's just vertical lines here, then z lines will be like this, and x lines like this. So if I draw a box here, I will kind of follow this line. So you see z follow z axis, x follow x axis, and y follow y axis. So I have box, and it can be you can play around, just like make like a street, let's say. So it's like a buildings, and I can put here like a road and small alley, small line. So it's kind of this main principle. So you can see also I can tilt them anyway. There of course there is like certain relationship between them, because you need to maintain 90 degree between all of them. So it should be 90 90 90 in every direction. So it requires some practice and some observation to get this feeling, kind of like which how to properly relate them, but still it's kind of very kind of you can learn very quick this thing. So if we talk about like practical use, so this is kind of represent this long lens view when we have like a drone shot or camera on helicopter, and this like looking somewhere very far and zoom picture. So when camera is far from object and use zoom to make picture bigger like on a screen, so we can see these details like buildings or people or cars here, we will have this kind of zero vanishing point perspective. It's like no foreshortening, only overlap. So have this like overlap one box behind other box. So let's say two main components here is just three set of lines like I explained, and overlap. So basically it's all kind of parameters you need to consider when you work in this perspective. So one point perspective, it's when we see horizon line so this z axis will have vanishing point on the horizon line. So let's see, where's horizon line? So let's say on this horizon line, and we have z vanishing point. So what does mean? It's mean y-axis is vertical like this. It's wrong color. Okay, no problem. Y-axis, and x-axis is horizontal, parallel to horizon line. So in one vanishing point perspective, x-axis parallel to horizon line. So vertical and horizontal, they're just straight lines. They have this 90-degree relationship between each other, like vertical, horizontal. But z-axis, they have vanishing point, so z axis, all these z lines, they converge in a vanishing point on the horizon line. So if I draw a box here, here I have vertical line, here I have horizontal line, then I have z going to vanishing point here. Etc. So and this perspective is kind of like you can move horizon line little up or little down. Anyway, so it's kind of another most basic perspective. So only what I want here to make clear, it's like helpful keep in mind this approach, this vision, like perspective grids. So remember, it's about set of lines. So we have three axes, and now one axis have vanishing point. Other two, they just parallel kind of to paper. And let's move back to colors, to proper colors. X and y. So if I draw a box above horizon line, it's kind of now looking downwards, kind of this. So in two vanishing point, okay, so it means we have two axes will have vanishing points. So this two axes, it will be z and x. So let's say so again here. So y-axis, it's still just vertical lines parallel to paper. But x and z will have vanishing points. So here I will put them kind of visible on the paper. Usually in this perspective and two-point perspective, vanishing points, they're outside, like in most cases. This vanishing points, they're outside of picture plane. So, because if you place them too close, it will look like unrealistic. So here I will also show it. And this is also kind of problem with this perspective, like limitation of this kind of perspective, is that this perspective have very little field of view, very little like effective range. So let's say I can draw a box like overlapping horizon line, so it will be like this, or I can draw it here, and you start to see how it's already start to look like exaggerated. So you just start to like unrealistically stretch, so it doesn't look anymore like proper box. So later we'll explain more clearly how it works. So usually it's like work area is around here, or like kind of around here. If you go more far from horizon line, it just start to look kind of weird twist. So, and again, like with perspective grid and vanishing point, what is the idea of perspective grid? Idea of perspective grid is just like it helps you to draw when you don't have vanishing points. And logic is very simple, like principle idea for perspective grid is very simple. So let's say we have this two vanishing point perspective, and we have vanishing points outside paper. So here is z, here is x. So it will have these lines. So, and you look on a picture plane and you see, what do you see? You see lines kind of convergent, so they are not parallel like this, right? They have this kind of change in distance between. So basically perspective grid is just about showing this like a ratio or degree of like how quick it's converge, because like it can converge like this, so we know like vanishing point very close, or it can converge not so fast, maybe like this, right? So we know like vanishing point very far from here, so and like converging like more gradual, more slow. So my kind of technique I teach on here. Hello creator, yeah, thank you. So I teach this very simple approach, like it's really effective and quick for drawing grids. So this is your picture plan, like you cannot see vanishing points, right? So all you need is to see like how, like establish this curvature between x axis and horizon line. So you see right now we have this like on the left side and on the right side we have two different like A and B proportion, right? So then I can say like, okay, I can transfer it here. So now we have this A here and we have B here. So now I have above and below, and then I can I can put again A here and B here, and again make, so I can like keep repeating it. So I start to have grid for X, right? If I need more lines, if I want it to be more detailed, hello Jesse, I can just like find middle points and subdivide. So okay, now I have more detailed grid. So, or also what I do, like what I always show, it's let's say, like you look, like when you study from reference, or like in any way, like you look around, and idea is just like you're creating grid, right? So you're creating 3D space, you're creating like conditions for your 3D space in your virtual space in your picture. So take like most extreme kind of sides. It's like give you much more control and you can see it like in general. So let's say here, like when I know horizon line, yeah, it's okay, clear now. Let's take like this Z. Okay, I will take this line, kind of like I want to show like what is kind of maximum angle of this Z axis within picture. So we have like, okay, this one. Sometimes it might be, let's say like horizon line, and maybe I want my Z be like this, you know, like even stronger. So when I have this extreme angle, now what I do, I just subdivide. So I subdivide this, and here is like requires some experience, kind of, right, like to see how to subdivide it here. But it's kind of like imagine line here. Let's say I can draw with pencil. So it's like, yeah, here we have this vertical line, here you can do like this line, or I just kind of imagine line like this, just to make like imagine these two lines like a conus, you know. So if conus like this, and you can like subdivide it on a many, like a slice it, right? So I just imagine like I slice, I can cross cut this between these two lines, and anyway I just eyeballing where is middle between these two lines. So when I have middle here and I have middle somewhere here, just by eyeballing, you know, it's just like practice, like after 10 drawing you will do it naturally. So I subdivide this grid, so I put like in between this like a transition line, and again, so like here you don't need to be precise. This is why is so practical, this technique. You just need to make it look correct, because anyway, after all, we are work on other people, like other observer like us. They also like don't have super perfect ruler in the eyes, right? So they cannot really calculate each millimeter if you make it like millimeter or 5 millimeter wrong. Like, nobody care. It's just, you see what I make transition from this extreme angle to this line. So it's like dun 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 dun. Now I have transition, and this is what a perspective grid is about. It's about establishing this transition between two lines, between these two angles. So have this, then I put somewhere in the middle, then I again put in the middle, again put in the middle, and again I can detail it in any level I need, and I can do it any moment. I don't need to draw like super detailed grid from beginning, so just keep it in mind. So same below horizon line, I just do here, so I can like kind of see, okay, what degree, kind of what level, something about this, and then again I subdivide to any level I need. So here we have this to vanishing point, and I say like, okay, I have line for Z will be kind of this, then I put in the middle. Okay, I can make one more in the middle here, so I can kind of continue this extent of and kind of angle transition. So same with X. So same, I can just like a mirror, make similar kind of something like this. Anyway, I draw a little wrong, but it's hard to notice. And we see a lot of like almost all artists who have very good perspective in their freehand drawings. They do a lot of this kind of small mistakes, and usually nobody notice. And in other hand, there's artists who do in perspective like perfect, you know, they're like make a super perfect perspective, very proper. And for me it looks too much technical. It's kind of less dynamic, less kind of creative, let's say, you know. I prefer this way because like it gives you ability to draw like Masamune Shiro, like Tsutomu Nihei, you know, more like intuitive and dynamic environments, architecture, so they all like feel alive, they feel like they're brief, not just like static lines. So yeah, so and now what is a 3-point perspective? You can see already logic here, like how it works. So in a 3-point perspective, it's mean all three axes have vanishing points, even if they're outside of picture plane. So if they're outside of picture plane, we're talking about convergence. So we can say again, it's like in a 3-point perspective, like every axis converge. So let's say at first I draw so we have x-axis, we have z-axis. And we'll have like y-axis here, y vanishing point here. So, and if I draw box, so we have this y edge with a vertical edge follows this y vanishing point, then x following x, then again phi follow y, then again x, z, y, z, x, z, and there's like transparent, we can draw other sides too. So this is like box below horizon line, so we kind of look from top down to this box, like down shot. And here, let's say I draw, like again I have many tutorials, I show this, let's say now I will draw, yeah, let's do same down shot. So I just establish an convergence. So I even don't care about vanishing points, you know, and it's really like really helpful for you to remember like vanishing points is just one element of perspective grids and stuff. It's supposed to help you. It doesn't mean like you need to be obsessed by vanishing points. It's like, oh, where is exactly, like who cares? No, just make sure you know convergence, you know, like general direction. So, and let's say here will be my y-axis like this. So then I say, okay, again you see I kind of work with kind of extreme, like one will be on the top, one on there, and now I find middle, and then I can subdivide to any amount I need. And z. So for example, I even didn't think about horizon line here, because it's like I say also it's important, but you should able just work with the 3-axis. It's really already enough. So, and I can see, okay, in this perspective grid, you see if we follow this this kind of moment, so we have, I need to describe, so let's say I have x vanishing point on the horizon line, and what you need to notice, x vanishing point and x-axis. So this x-axis line, in one moment it will be like perpendicular to horizon line, right? Because we have like each vanishing point will have so-called sunbeams, right? This kind of sunbeam. So it's just like radiating lines around vanishing point. So in one moment it's like perpendicular. So it's, oh, I don't know, it's just you need to notice it. And then we see how these lines and this how this axis, like they change in direction, let's say from this extreme perpendicular, like 90 degree, to 0 degree when it's like completely aligned with horizon line. So what is interesting moment here is there is like x line, x-axis within horizon line. So it's just like, it's like being angle being like changing, getting more flat, more kind of closer to horizon line, and then it's aligned with horizon line. and then it start to appear above horizon line. So it's showing you this principle, kind of like how you can find horizon line, like outdoors or again in your picture. It's just you look convergence of of this x and z, because if they're both kind of getting close to each other, so in the one moment they're aligned with each other. So when z, because z also align with horizon line in one kind of moment, here we'll have this kind of zero angle, like here is 90 and here is 0, right? So in one moment they're both will be aligned with horizon line and also aligned with each other. So we have this kind of z merge aligned with the x, like, and align with horizon line. So when you look on the perspective grid, you see like, oh, here is angle, like very strong angle, here's strong angle. So they're definitely not aligned. So it's kind of showing this place is far from horizon line. Like if I put kind of line here, they're not merged together, right? But here we have this angle and this angle over x and z. So they are now more close to align, but not yet. So it means like in this picture plane is no horizon line. Horizon line will be kind of somewhere here, maybe, like you can kind of predict. So it's kind of somewhere here outside of picture. So hope it's clear, kind of. So let's draw like a box here. And etc. So when you understand this principle, you see how actually easy to do this. It's just maybe, of course, if you draw not often, if you struggle with just drawing lines, then yeah, you need to draw more. So eventually it feels just like a children game. It's just like connecting dots, you know, like it was this game when you need to connect dots, kind of. So this is what is perspective. You need to connect dots, like 1, 2, 3, 4. But also in a perspective you need to know curvature, because it's not always straight line, sometimes it's curve. So it's like, say, points and curvature or like direction of lines. If we don't see points like here, we can see direction kind of these lines. And when you have these lines, look how easy it became to draw building, for example. And the same with everything. It's crazy. So if it just like became like little more and more nuanced, you go to like next and next stage. When you understand this level, you go to next and next level when you can draw like more like nature forms, like, you know, oblique surfaces, like also like human, animals, trees, but it's always kind of this like boxes and with some carvings with round edges. So here some cyberpunk street. So this is a linear perspective for four kinds. Then we go to let me check how to spell it right. Curvilinear perspective. Так. Hello, Danny boy, thank you. So, curvilinear perspective is also yeah, it's basically just two types. So let's say we just keep adding points. So after 3-point perspective, there is also 4-point perspective, but weirdly, this 4-point perspective it's same with 6-point perspective, so-called like 6-point perspective, like equilateral projection. So it's like this kind of perspective when you draw and you can make VR image, you know, so you draw this like 360 degree and then you can watch it in VR, you can look your drawing like in every direction. So so I will talk 4-point perspective and we'll talk about 6-point perspective. So basically it's like two more 5-point and 6-point. And here, yeah, I need to repeat kind of again and again this thing, like what is the case with curvilinear perspective? Why is curvilinear? It's curvilinear because our field of view. So let's say field of view is like a sphere around your brain. Yeah, let's say, yeah, really like more close will be say it's a sphere around your brain, kind of this. So in the center is your brain with this like eyes, and here let's say we'll try. It's always hard to draw sphere from first attempt with this stuff. Так. 1, 2. Okay. Okay, so here is sphere, and так. Whoa. Так. And a sphere also will have okay, I have to cover all this. Like sphere will have 3 axes. Let me draw 2 spheres then. So we have sphere. Так. So if we do same, so in the sphere we have x-axis here. Here is a observer or camera. So let's say he look in a camera like okay. So camera is looking there in this direction. And the direction where camera look, it's x-axis, oh, z-axis, sorry. So your line of sight is a z-axis, and also like in front of you, and it's also like kind of like this axis going from your back. So you know, it's like, imagine what kind of gladiator scene, and this like a spike growing through head. So we have like front side, it's Z, and the rear, like from your back, is rear Z kind of, but the same axis. So let's same, this x-axis is like arrow going from ear to and going out from other ear. We have this like left and right, and Hellraiser here. So, and the y-axis, it's this kind of spear going like through your head, kind of from top, and going from bottom, kind of here. So we have this top and bottom. So this is 3 axes in a 6-point perspective, or within our field of view. So again, just imagine like we actually have this kind of 360 like spherical field of view, and even if like operatively, like in a moment, you cannot see it all, for sure. Yeah, of course you cannot see it all, but your brain process it. Your brain always process it like 360. I'm kind of like, I know what is behind me, you know, because I seen it, like I've been looked there like 10 minutes ago, so I know what is there. I have this kind of information, right? So we are like kind of living within this 360. Our actual field of view, like what I can see right now in the moment in my field of view, right? It's in like in the width is more than 160, 180. It's like 200 something. So it means like if we have this one x vanishing point on the left, I can see little more than x vanishing point on the left, and a little more than x vanishing point on the right. So it's like, if you know, if you put your hands like this here, you can see like your peripheral vision can see your hands, and actually if somebody will move even like farther back, like somebody will move, you will notice it. So you cannot see it clearly, but you see something moving, kind of, right? So this like layers of peripheral vision, and like we have frontal vision, central vision. It's very small cone of vision. It's about total is called also 60 degree. So you imagine like this is your front, so it's you. You look in the front, and like above and left and right below, it's same will be 30. So on the left and right same. So in total it's like called 60 degree. So it's like very small. It's like yeah, like I show here is something like this. So if we okay, yeah, I need to make one more iteration. Wow. So when we talk about perspective drawings, we talk about flat projection of this field of view. So we're talking about flattening this sphere, and when we draw in 5-point perspective, we are flattening, we are kind of projecting this front hemisphere of a full field of view. So we like projecting this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 vanishing points. So we have this Z vanishing point, X, X, and Y, Y. Right. So, and how it looks when we're projecting it on paper, it will look like a circle. So this like 3D hemisphere, 3D half sphere, we can draw as circle. And you mention it, it's like, you know, like you take iron and you change it from this volume stage, you transform it to flat one. So now it's flat, like a pancake, right? So, and we have in this flat projection X, X, Y, Y. We will have this like it's a structure, some kind of, again, like a map of Earth, you know, it's another form of projection of 3D form to 2D. So, and here what, yeah, need to show. So you need to remember behavior of this axis here. So we have, like I showed before here, right? And I show behavior of axis in a linear perspective. And here z-axis kind of acts similar like in a 1-point perspective. It just converge to 1 point. So it's just straight lines converging to the z vanishing point. In x and y, they have kind of this interesting thing. It's like x will have, like in the one extreme it will be a half circle, in other extreme it's a straight line, a line with a horizon line. So this is horizon line here. So horizon line goes through 2 x vanishing points and through z vanishing point. And between, so like I show you, remember, with this like approach, like you draw extremes and then you draw between. So here extreme is a straight and half circle curve. So in between, let's say middle here, right? So you just make this kind of transitional curve from one vanishing point to other one. So you see how going closer to horizon line, this curve just became like more flat. and going further from horizon line, this curve merge, like became more and more like close to half circle, and then eventually it will merge in this half circle. So same kind of opposite here. So it's just this kind of behavior you need to remember. Same with y, but perpendicularly kind of. So y will have straight line and also half circle line, and you see here this half circle also merge with x, this x curvature kind of on extreme. So this kind of like merge of y and x axis curvature is kind of making this circle. So we have straight, we have this curved, then you just draw in between as many as you need. Again, straight half circle, and then in between. So this how lines behave within 5-point perspective grid. So, and here again I want to emphasize. So let's draw again here this 5-point perspective, little bigger. It's not super perfect. So y, x. Okay, so I already tell you a 5-point perspective, it's projection of a front half sphere, right? So 1-point perspective, it's also projection, but it's projection only of this narrow, small kind of central view, central cone of vision. So it's also kind of projection of this field of view, but a very small part of it. So if we look in a projection of whole half sphere, you will notice that close to the vanishing point here, close to kind of to center, right? It's where here is kind of this 60. I'm not remember for sure, kind of, let's say it's kind of here, the 60-degree, maybe even smaller, this like central cone of vision, maybe smaller even. So, and you notice how this y and x axis in this area, we see these lines, they will have almost no curvature. So it's like this y axis here perceives almost like a straight. They're so close to horizon line. So in this small narrow area in the center of a frontal hemisphere of a whole field of view, vertical and horizontal, like y and x axis, they perceived like a parallel lines. You see, so that's why also kind of like when we're zoom, we kind of like this long lens zoom, right? You just kind of move closer within this field of view, so you have less. You take less of field of view, because when you want, like here, you want to take more of from your field of view, you want put more wider kind of area within your observation. Eventually you need to put distortion within. You need to kind of put this like distortion, how it will change, you know, in without rotating head. Cool, thank you, Jesse. Yeah, I just want to clearly explain all this. So then same what happened with all this linear perspective. Linear perspective is just about dealing with a small area within field of view. It's so every perspective is about like this sphere, but it's just about like how much from the sphere you want to project on paper. Linear perspective project only like small area from this big field of view, so this is why I have like less distortion. And I was tell also before tutorials, so when we look straight, it's 1 point perspective. Well, yeah, and it can be also 2 point perspective if like it's kind of some rotation there. Like 2 point perspective, let's say, is more about rotation of objects or camera relative to object. Yeah, so this is a 1 and 2 point perspective within here. And 3 point perspective, what is this? It's when you're kind of moving this, your cone of vision, this 60 degree, so this will have this small narrow cone of vision. It's like if you, when you moving it up or down, so it's same like within, you still have this kind of spherical, right? So but instead of looking straight here, you look little above or little below, right? So and you see what happened, like when you look a little above, yeah, you start to see how lines converging, like this y-axis converging. Or if you look little below, you will also see how they start to converge. But because this area is still very small, very narrow, it doesn't perceived like curvilinear, because like you see, if I take like a bigger area like this, I mean, it just is in a projection here, right? So you can see how which color to use. So this y-axis lines already like became curved. So practically, like when we draw, it's about distance between vanishing points. So when you have like closer vanishing points to each other, so then proper perspective will be curvilinear. Because if you will, let's say, like I have this two vanishing point close here, and box kind of start to be like look weird, kind of like this. But if I make it curvilinear, it will be something like this. So it just look more like proportions of box will look more realistic without much distortion. So it's kind of like main principle here. So I hope it's clear here. So yeah, I can draw box here. So again x, x, y, z, x, z, z, y, x, and whatever. Like same. It feels like you draw linear perspective, but it's curved. Так, so let's see. Also, like when we have like a paper plan, so it doesn't mean you always need to draw within circle. Like yeah, sometimes maybe you draw like in a circle picture, like on a dish, or it's just like circle canvas. Yeah, then it's totally okay. But sometimes you might have like more space, so what to do? We don't have grid for this. Like what will happen here, right? In this case it's actually start to become like a 6-point perspective. So let's talk about 6-point perspective. 6-point perspective, you need to draw all sphere. So if 5-point perspective is only this front, 6-point perspective will make 2D projection of all sphere. And how it's done, it's very interesting. So here we have this like front sphere, we already know, it's just circle like this. But for rear sphere, you see, like we have this z vanishing point on the rear sphere, we have this x curvature and y curvature. So here is the rear hemisphere. You can see this like 4 slices, maybe other color, let's see. So this 4 slices here, right? So this rear hemisphere, this will be this vanishing point and this kind of 4 leaves, like curved slices. And to project this, we need to kind of open these 4 leaves. So you kind of like open it and like open leaves like this, right? Like this, op. But trick happen here is that this on this position, this leaf was pointy, kind of, it was sharp, it being like converged to the vanishing point. But when we are making this like projection on a flat surface, when we open them, also happen this z point, he start to stretch. So from sharp point, it became, so here, so this, it's this edge, right? It's this one. But z point became kind of like this. So from point it became line. From point it became kind of, in the projection it will be like a quarter of circle. Kind of this. So we open this one like this. So one leaf will look like this. And all four leaves were stretched like this. So Z point became the curve quarter of a circle. So, and perspective, like 2D projection, became like this. We have like 5 points which represent front hemisphere, like in a 5-point perspective, like this. And then we have rear hemisphere as this, like four parts like this. So this is 4 leaves stretch and I'll like present left or rear hemisphere. So, and where is 6 points? 6 points. It's a Z in the center. 2 points. It's X. And 2 points for Y. And number 6, it's this Z point, which became not a point, it became edge of this perspective here. So it's a kind of crazy, very interesting. So and yeah, and this, okay, this call 6-point spherical perspective. So it's like spherical projection is like this Escher famous spherical reflective sphere, when he holds this mirror sphere in the form of mirror in the form of sphere he hold in the hand, so can see like all room, like within, rear, like so, even can see what is behind, kind of like this wall behind. And the perspective grid for it is same like Z axis, like in a 5-point perspective. It's just straight lines like this. Y axis also like in the inner circle is totally like 5-point perspective in the inner circle. So Y and X, they go like this. But then Y, like when this axis go outside of circle, Y will behave like this. So it's kind of making turn and connect with outside. So it's kind of, you know, is like inside out, kind of. Same with X. Curvature go here, like 5-point, going through this Y X vanishing point, and then I start to do this inside out movement. Same within, and then inside out movement. So this is what I mean here, like if we want to like do 5-point perspective and with some extra space, you just kind of make this axis go like this. Here's horizon line. Here like this. And Y. So maybe if make here more simple. So yeah, let's say and there is interesting also moment, this inner sphere, inner hemisphere, this front hemisphere, you can actually draw it in any ratio. Like proper ratio is like when it's right like in a half. So if you subdivide in half, so it will be like this. But you can draw it in any ratio. You can make it like very big like this. So you can leave very little space for rear, for this like rear sphere area. So grid will look like this. If like make it less lines. Okay, so and there is 6-point equilateral projection, so called. So, or is kind of like tubular. So I will also call it like 4/6-point. So what is this? Like I show you, let's say I draw again. So it's a sphere of vision. It's like a field of vision, like spherical, around person, around you. Let's say standing here. So here is y vanishing point, z vanishing point, x vanishing point. Anyway, here's my weird sphere here. Anyway, so when we project this whole sphere to 2D surface, it looks like 6-point perspective. But when we project all sphere but like this, we can do like this. We can, instead of open z, like okay, I'll find better words. So in a 6-point perspective, we open rear hemisphere. So we're doing this like we stretch z point. We stretch it from point to line. Hello Jackie, thank you. And in this 4/6-point, we do this with the y-axis, or with the y vanishing point. So now, instead of vanishing point, this y became like this, in the top and in the bottom. So now we have how it's better to do pencil. So we make from sphere we make a tube, and in this tube same we have like z behind, z in front vanishing point, we have x on the left and x on the right. Like this. And here is you're standing. So projection of this tube on a flat surface will look kind of this. So here will be, yeah, let's also show horizon line, here, horizon line, this in the center Z vanishing point, also on the back Z vanishing point, so it's kind of Z vanishing point split on the back, and here is left X and here is the right X vanishing point. And Y-axis is just vertical, so can draw some more. So, and you see what happened is kind of this curvature. So this kind of curvature of Z going from front, going to rear. And this X here. So here's go like this, and then it's kind of like doing this move. So because it's open, we take this and we cut it here. Forget how to draw scissors. So we cut this tube and we open it. So we open it right on the middle of rear Z point. And this horizon line here. So this one, if you draw with this grid, so you see it's like kind of you're looking here in the front, let's say it's like a room, right? So let's say this is front wall of a room, here will be like a left wall and right wall, and this one it's a back wall, so it's like behind you. So this way you show all 360, and you also include top and bottom, so you kind of actually show everything. And there is a way how to draw it freehand. Like, I mean, you can draw it freehand. It's not so difficult when you work within this area. Like most crazy, it's this top and bottom, because there's like it's like explosion of foreshortening. It's like crazy to draw there. And I seen like just God, I know his name is just like right now forget. Like this Taiwan artist who drew not cranes. Who's his name? remember. Naomi artist, for example. That's right. He did a lot of this stuff. Naomi. So, and he did this also like drawing outdoors. So he just like following this grid and like go somewhere and draw place like 360. What I noticed he actually like just don't draw much details on very close to top and bottom, because it's just like too much, and it's fine, kind of nobody notices. It's just like when you watch this projection in a computer, kind of when you look around in VR space, it's just same kind of like in a Google map. You look up and down, it's not much details there, like right in the top and right and bottom. Okay, so this it's main perspective. So this basically, like for you, it's all you need to learn, and I consider it's all basic, even like 6 point, because it's basic not because it's simple. It's basic because it's really give you full picture, so you can really understand like laws of 3D space, how it works, like, and so you can make this like very dynamic, very crazy illustrations. You can understand other artists like high level too. So it's just like more you will practice it, more fluent it will become. It's nothing kind of supernatural here. You don't need to be talented for this. Every artist who I saw who have this super skill with drawing curvilinear perspective, they all begin with awful perspective. They all begin with very low skill, when they like cannot draw perspective at all, and their lines like, you know, like a dirty cat, like this kind of shaky and broken line like this. So everybody goes through the stages. So this is main principles, this is like general field, and there are some nuances, some specific, because you will have kind of questions like how to draw stairs, how to rotate objects, how to rotate camera. I have video about this, like talking about each this moment. Only last one what I want to mention here, it's there is bunch of perspective which is kind of intermediate or combination of this, something like, you know, not exactly 5 point, but not linear. So let's say you can yeah, you can make like curvilinear 1 point perspective, you know. So it's just like if you make 1 point perspective, but you make all lines curve. So you might kind of consider it like you're doing like this projection of a sphere, or you can just curve lines, so it's also it's also will work. So when we have this like curved box, also there very common perspective is like simple version of 6 point, like let's show you. Let's say Usually it's used in a wide angle urban sketch. It can be vertical, it can be horizontal. So let's say so it's like same, you have this x on left and x on right, and you have z, you're doing it like this. So it's like a little more simple version of this perspective grid, because you're not doing it for projection. You're doing it just to show like little more than 180. So it's like 180 plus, kind of, if this one is 360. And so I did a lot of drawings like this, for example, interior of a car, because you can show, let's say, you can show this car interior. So it looks like not so distorted like 6 point, because you're doing it for like for paper. You don't want it to be projected like 360 VR kind of perspective, equilateral projection. You don't want to make equilateral projection. Just draw this kind of wide angle. Here's will be seat, here's pedals, and same, it can be vertical, same kind of wide angle perspective. So instead of x, it will be y above, y below, and z here. So this is the vanishing point. And you can see like urban sketchers, for example, do this when you want to show some like ceiling, you know, like, oh, there's very cool ceiling. So you can see also, you can play around with this. You can like one vanishing point put closer to bottom, and other vanishing point put closer to center. So, and then will be z. So, так, yeah. So yeah, I will also do video tutorial about this kind of perspective, just to give more examples. So this is how it works. You see, like at first you need to general idea, understanding of principles, and then you can go more in particulars, because for more like specific information, you need to understand at least how it works. Because like Angelica Sofia wrote, she say like she draw a lot perspective but don't understand. Yeah, so this is kind of theoretical part of it. You need to really spend some time to read, to watch tutorials, to talk with the artist, kind of to understand system, to understand structure, understand laws, kind of. So here I given you full picture And for advanced nuances, yeah, it takes time to kind of add these specific nuances. And maybe like to see some demonstrations. If you want to see more examples, also watch my videos. I draw there like all these examples, so you can see exactly how it's applied. Because sometimes, again, like in the books, it's here, but it takes years to decipher these like diagrams and all these images, like what it actually means. Yeah, okay, yeah, see you, Woos. Yeah, thank you, Josie. Thank you for gratitude and feedback. Yeah, so yeah, so we'll leave it here. See you next tutorials. Yeah, thank you for members who subscribe, and other people like who cannot subscribe, like no problem, like if you can afford, you can become member of my channel. If you want support, you can write some long comment. It can be also request for future video, like what you're interested in, and I will think about it. Maybe I will make tutorial. And yeah, also if you share, will be good, will be help for a channel. Yeah, also there's Patreon with some additional stuff, and Patreon, yeah, and Gumroad. Yeah, I can also go to Gumroad. Yeah, see you.